Okay, welcome everyone. This is going to be our second video for the Bootstrap project. And again, I'm going to take this a little slow. There's a lot of zigging and zagging to do and a lot of things that need explaining. So the book does a really good job of explaining what goes on in there. So hopefully you'll be able to read the book and understand it. And I'm going to try to explain bits and pieces of it as well. So right now we have the index file open and I'm on page 315. What it's telling us to do is click on the third purple bar, the one that is labeled 992. So we'll click on that and you can see that it brings up a different screen over here. So it wants us to use the container div selected in the document window over here, which should be this. Notice that it says div container. All the classes that are applied to a particular div or other tag is going to show up in there as well. You can take a look in code view and you can see div class equals container. There could be other classes as well. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go into the grid grow and column in the Bootstrap components insert panel. So we're going to click on insert and we're going to click on Bootstraps here. If it's not open, just click the drop down arrow and you're going to find Bootstraps right here. And it wants us to choose the, the grid row and column. Very easy. Just click on it. And it gives us a choice of, do we want to do before, do we want to do after, do we want to do nest? So we will choose nest. And notice it's got 3 columns, so we're going to change it to 2. And it's going to make 2 separate columns, each with a specific class. So let's click on nest, let's click on OK. And notice it's got content here, content here. Let's go into code view, and you can see we have the class equals row. Then we have div class equals column large 6. That means how many columns does it do it? If you had 3 columns, it would say column large 4. We don't have that right now. We just have the 2 columns, so we're just going to stick with this as well. I'm going to leave the content here for right now, and we'll delete it when we start copying and pasting some other things in here. So now we're good on this particular part. And we're going to stay in code view for right now to make it a little bit easier. So it does tell us to remain in page view, page code, and look at it. So what we want to do now is take a look at the fact that we have a column large where we could have it's active and each new row is automatically adopts the column large in there. And if the extra large size is active, then it's going to adopt the column extra live class. You'll learn a little bit more about that as you get more familiar with the media queries in here. And the book does tell us that by default, the new column elements are evenly divided across 12 rows or 12 columns in here. 12 divided by 2 obviously is 6. 12 divided by 3 is 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. However, if you have only want 3 columns, you're going to run a little bit short, and that'll only be either 15 or 10, depending upon how you want to do it, but they're not 15 columns in here, so you're going to have to stick to 10 in here. But we're not going to worry about that right now. We're just going to stick with this over here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to click on the max width 5. So let's go back into live. We want to click on the max width is over here. It's 5, 9, 7, 8. And we have that goes on top and on bottom on there. Of course, there's not enough room in here. If we click on the min width, 1200, remember the max is the green, the min is the purple. If we click on this, then of course it gets much bigger. So that's the page 317. Moving on, and there's a lot of theory mumbo jumbo on here. It wants us to click on min width 992. We'll do that. And you can see how that changes in there. So now with the existing row and div selected, we're going to click the column grid button in the Bootstraps. And we want to actually click on this row here, which we're good over here. And notice that it does say row over here. So we're going to click on the Bootstrap and we're going to choose column with row, or grid column. And we need to make sure that we choose after, which we've done. And then we want 3 columns. So let's click on OK. And let's see what that does. Now notice in the container you have, in the DOM, container, row, and row. And we have 2 column larges. And we have, in this one, 3 column small. So it's easy to manipulate it. Let's go into code and see what we have here. So you can see that looks good. We don't have any problems whatsoever. If you did, then yes, you can fix that as well. So that takes care of number 10. Number 11 says, with the second row div selected, click the grid row over here. So this is our first row, and this is our second row selected. That is actually just above number 11 with the second row div selected. Click the row, and we're going to choose after, and we're going to choose 1 in there. So now you may not get the option after with being in code view. So you get it, but you can't select it. So let's cancel that out. Let's go into live view. And let's do the same thing. And this time we'll choose after. And we'll choose 1. And click on OK. And boom. So that looks like we did it right. Go into code view again. You can see we now have a row with just 1 large column. Let's go back to live. And you can see we have 3 here, we have 2 here, and we have 1. So that's everything on page 318. Now we get to start manipulating and doing column offsets. How exciting is that? Now, I'm going to do the first one the way the book tells you to do it. The second one, I'm going to show you a shortcut in here. So with the large layout visible in Windows, select the left column of the first row, which happens to be first row. And here's the left column. Let's click down here and here. Okay, we're in the wrong one. Now we want column 6. If you're not sure what's selected, look what we have over here. That's selected there. So we don't have anything to worry. It wants us to be in the first column of the first row. So that is number 12. And number 13 is they want us to click the offset handle on the left side of the active column and drag it to the right until we see a second class of offset large 1. So we have to do it slow. Now it'll snap to it around 100. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. Just take it slow and don't worry about that nothing's moving. And boom, all of a sudden it's there. Let's go into code view. So now you can see you have 1 class and you have 2 classes. You could have, if you wanted to, done an offset and just type that in over there or add the class in here. But we want to try to do it by the books in there as well. So that takes care of number 12. So now we have one over here, and let's see what we had the large in here and the offset column in here. And so we're going to drag that. We've done that over there. But we have an issue with the fact that we have a large, we have 13 columns and we only have room for 12. So you can see how this thing is over expanding over here. So I'm actually trying to follow the book instead of doing everything by memory so I don't miss anything out. So please forgive me for that. So we're going to fix that in a second, which is pretty easy. So what we need to do is we need to use the resize handle in here. And we're going to drag the element display till it says 5. So let's take this here and drag it till you see the column large till it says 5. And there's 5. I'm going to undo that. And let's go into code view. And how about we just change this here to 5. And let's see if it does the same results. It kind of looks like it did. So you do it whatever way you want. I'm not a big fan of all these dragging. My hands are not that steady in here, and I'll go a little bit fast in there. So that takes care of that. Then we need to resize the handle to the element bands. This is on the second one. We want to do the same thing as well. So we can click on here, and how about if we change this to 5? Of course, I'm in the wrong one. Actually, I'm in the right one. And see what happens. Well, it looks like it did exactly what we did, or we could have just taken this and dragged this over in here. So there's different ways that you can do the same thing. Again, you can do it whatever way you feel the most comfortable. So let's save the file. Let's go into code view and make sure everything is fine. So we have column 5, and we have offset 1, and we have 444, and then we have a 12. So far we're looking pretty good. Now we're going to insert an image, and it's pretty easy really to do that. You're just going to, so we have the index file open. We want to click the arrow on the responsive image button and resulting click the default image. So we need to click up top here. We want to click in the left image up top here, the left column in the first row, which we're there. If you're not sure, take a look. This is where we're at. This is the second one. This is the first one. So you can use the DOM to make it easier for you to click where you want to click and not have to be messing around with that. So now we have insert. What we want to find is responsive image. So we're going to click and hold the mouse down, the arrow here, and we want to make sure that it says default, which it does. Now we're going to click on it. Let's try it. All right, there we go. Click on the image itself. Seem to do the trick. And see, these are things that you can learn by me messing up. So if you have this problem and you can't find it, click on the images. We want to choose nest. And we are now has a placeholder. So you can see that it's got a placeholder PNG in there. So we're going to select the image placeholder in the layout and expand the image folders. So let's go to Files and Images, and we can use the point to right over here. Don't use the link. We want to do the point to, and let's click on, it wants us to do the band, I think it's Boulevard logo, and there we go. So that was number 4, and that was number 5, and now we're going to change the alt text to Boulevard. So let's change this to right here, change it to the Boulevard. Again, don't hit enter, just click somewhere else, and we're good to go. So that is number 6. We're going to click on the max width over here, and you can see how it changes where everything goes down. So what we want to do now, because the image is an image fluid, it's going to adjust to be whatever the width of the column is in there. So that is number 7. Number 8, we're going to click on the 992, and you can see how it changes again. And then we can also click on this over here. You can see how it changes again. So let's save everything and move on. So now we're going to copy some content. This is like what we did before, and then we're going to make some adjustments to it. It's really easy. We're going to do it in code view. So let's open up the content file. And it wants us to, let's see, we are in here. We want to move the index active in there, and we want to place an insertion point between the opening and closing div tags of the first and second column of the first row. So let's go back to here, and Okay, this is the here we have where it says content. We're going to delete this. Oops. Don't want to do that. Let's just have it selected here. And let's go to the content. And we're going to copy from here to here. Click on copy. Go back to index. And click on paste. And boom. Now remember, when you have something selected, whatever you do next is going to replace. So let's just go into live view and see how that looks. Okay, so we have big changes in the wind are coming, I guess, so that's really exciting. All right, that takes care of that. So now we have 3 more contents to do and then the bottom one. And these are all 3 columns, and this is one just large column. So I'm going to click this over here. And I'm going to click on copy. I'm going to go to here. Now, this is not going to work right until we make a change, which we'll do shortly. That's one. And here is 2. And one more to go. Here is 3. And last is the footer. Even though we don't actually have a footer. This says class equals footer. So I did not write this book. You have to take it up with the publisher. And this is the footer. All right, good time to save. Let's go in and look at it. And notice that it's going to do some things over here. You must upload them to your server, blah, 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 blah. And here, so just click on OK. You're good over here. And let's go into live. And yucko, that does not look good. So we're going to have to fix that, which we're going to do in the next exercise. So we are on the top of page 324. We've done 4 and we've done 5 when we've closed the content. Actually, we did not. So this will be a good time to do that. And we're back in index. So you can see we want to click the image below the shopping H2. That is this element here, right here. And another way, of course, to do it is to click on, so if you have it over here, notice we have an H2 and then the image. That's an easy way to do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply a class of image fluid in it. So it already has a class of column 4 in here. So we're going to click the image itself. And we're going to type in image fluid. And notice that it shows up there. And boom, that looks a lot better. So we're going to do the same thing. Image fluid. Oops, did not like that. Okay, come on, let's go, Mr. Plus sign. There we go. Okay, that looks good. And that takes care of that. Good time to save everything. That is all of 325. So we've done everything that we need to do except look at it through different views. So let's go and click on our small view, and you can see what that looks like on a phone. Then we'll click on a larger view, which looks pretty much the same, a larger view, which is bigger, but still pretty much the same. Okay, now we're getting our 3 columns in here, and now we're getting a bigger 3 columns. So again, that's it. So that's all for this video. So hope you learned by it. We're going to pick up on our next video on page 327, where we're going to use CSS to format the page content. So have a great day.